Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today I have the alphabet soup tag A is for author. I was tagged by Becky Ford and this tag was created by Sean the Book Maniac. Firstly, we have A is for author, a good book by an author whose first name or last name starts with the letter A. Apparently first names are too easy, so we had to find one with the surname beginning with A, and I was going to go for Ben Aronovich, but I no longer have his books, so I decided to go with a poet. So we have The Perseverance, which is by Raymond Antrobus. This is a stunning poetry collection. I mention it in my vlog because it caused me to question everything that I think about poetry, and it also happens to be rather good. Next, I'm just going to have to hold the laptop now. A is for, well, A. The last book you read with the article / one-letter word A in the title. The Diary of a Bookseller by Sean Biffle. I had to go back through the journal I write all these down in and find the book, and I read this in November. That is the last time I read a book with A in the title. Great diary, an enjoyable read for anyone who enjoys books, a fast read, but by no means the most fantastic, brilliant, awe-inspiring thing in the world. It's still on my shelves, so that looks good for it. Next, A is for Angry, a book that pissed you off. I've mentioned this in another video, but it's Paulina and Fran by Rachel B. Glazer. Hate it. I hate that book, so I despise that book. There are not enough synonyms in the world for the amount of disdain I have towards that book. 4. A is for Awesome, a top read of recent years. I'm going to refer you all to my favourites video because, you know, that's only happened this week. So you can all go and see what my favourites are from the last 4 years. A is for a book whose title includes at least 3 A's. Bonus for more than 3. I'm going with Agatha Raisin and the Curious Curate, published in America as Agatha Raisin and the Case of the Curious Curate. Had this been last week, I would have been able to show you a copy of this book. However, my fury at the most recent of this series was so much that I donated every single book from this series to the charity shop last week. That was a lot of books and I now have an empty shelf. Next we have A is for Annoying, a character that drove you up the wall, and for that I'm going to say Agatha Raisin as well. Thinking about this, I could have said a book that made me angry, which would have also been Agatha Raisin, so yeah. Next we have A is for Ambivalent, a book you're still not sure how you feel about. I finished reading Reservoir 13 by John McGregor last night. On the one hand, this reminds me of The Archers in the way that it talks about this village and all these people, but the writing seemed a bit bland to me, a bit blah, and I don't feel as though there was any real story here. It was just going through the motions of what everyone was doing in this village, and at first I was like, this is great because you're getting to piece together these people's lives over the years and see just how, like, a decade can change a village so much. But on the other hand, I was like, not enough happens here for me to care enough. Next we have A is for Anticipation, a book, new release or not, that you're very much looking forward to reading. For this I chose The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang because I read The Poppy War last month. I feel as though I want to reread that book even though it's only been a month, and I want to go straight into reading The Dragon Republic. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I did enjoy this. Next we have A is for Actually, a book you didn't think you'd enjoy, but did. For this I chose Christine by Stephen King. I saw the film, and throughout the reading of this book I thought it was going to be overly long. I expected it to be more horrific than it was. I was looking to get into the horror genre, so I thought I'd go into a book whose story I knew. But I didn't have big expectations from this book. I kept feeling as though it was like Riverdale. But since I finished reading it, I felt like this book is growing on me and I feel as though I want to go back and reread it again. And so I think that that's a good thing, even though, you know, for a huge book like this that I didn't feel as though I particularly enjoyed at the time, for it to have grown on me and for me to keep thinking about, I think that it must have been better than I thought at the time. In fact, I keep thinking about all the different things that this book did, and the time it was written, I can't help but feel as though it's a bit like Herbie, but if Herbie was evil. Next we have A is for affected, a character, book or writer you feel is pretentious. I went for a writer whose works I've never been able to get into because I feel as though they are pretentious, and for me this is a bad thing, and that is Lionel Shriver. I find her works extremely boring, mind-numbing and overwritten, and I'm aware that she doesn't need me as a fan, so I'm quite fine with that. I'm glad she's got so many fans. I enjoy hearing about her process and how she comes about her works, but personally I don't like her writing. A is for How's It Going, A? A book you liked by a Canadian writer or one you want to read? Quite honestly, I don't know of any Canadian writers that I want to read. This isn't me bashing Canada. I've looked on Google and I have tried to figure out if I've heard of any of them before. I feel as though it was Miriam Toews. I don't know how you pronounce that name, but I'm just not sure of the writers whose works I want to read who are Canadian. And I feel as though there was a male Canadian writer whose book I wanted to read. I feel as though they had more than one book, that they may have written comedy, but I can't find them. And so the answer is this. I could either answer this and say all of them, which is a lie, because I'm not the biggest fan of Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood would have done well in here as well. Oh well. A is for Anticlimactic, a book you thought fizzled out at the end. The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. Actually, I want to say this entire series because it gives such big promises, but they don't amount to anything. And this entire series is just this steady, anticlimactic pile of mush. Next we have A is for all the booktubers. Tag a SWAC of people. I don't know what SWAC means. But Dane reads, Emma Rosen books, Abby Mac reads, Bald Book Geek, and Charlie Brooke. All being tagged. Get on it. And that's the video. If you've read any of these books and would like to discuss them, please feel free to do so in the comments. Recommend me some of your favourite Canadian writers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.